They've piled up career highs in sacks, tackles, and interceptions. The best of the best over the last 2 decades. Welcome back to 11 of the last 20. I'm your host, Chad Landers. Thanks for tuning in to our latest countdown here on Blue Ridge 11. Today, we're hitting the best football defensive players from our coverage area over the past 20 years. So let's put on the pads, head back to the gridiron, and see who made our list.
Offense is sometimes easy because the QB throws for 3,000, this guy ran for 2,000. I think sometimes you got to examine what impact did the kid have in terms of the defensive philosophy that the team played on. What was his impact to that team's defense? And did he create opportunities or create mismatches that made it difficult for your opposition?
You got to value that smarts, the instincts, the ball instincts on defense.
It does help to have a nasty personality. It does help to have a motor. It does help to be able to play on every play.
Never stop, never loaf, go full speed for as long as you can.
I've heard before tackling is 90% effort, 10% ability. You know, it's those kids who will give you their all when they're on the field, that those are the ones that make the best defensive football players.
Number 11, Warwick's Hayden Rucci, 2019 Big 33 participant, future Wisconsin Badger.
Hayden Rucci, heck of an athlete, heck of a two-way player for Warwick.
Kiefer steps, wants to throw right, and Hayden Rucci will drop him for a loss.
Well, you start off with the fact that we're talking about a D1 athlete. He played both sides of the ball, but another example of a kid who people had to scheme to deal with him.
But it was well read by the Warwick defense.
Very quick, tall, very strong. His wingspan made him an even better defensive end.
His feet could keep going through the blocks.
Hawes, under pressure, is going to be sacked.
He never stopped, but his pure size and athleticism really helped him to be a dominant force from the end position for Warwick.
It was kind of a pick your poison as to which way you're going to run the ball, because Rucci's on one end, Coomer's a tackle at the other end. Which way do you go? And I think Hayden was able to utilize his athleticism, his size, able to control the run game, but then when opposing teams went back to pass, he was in their face.
Brought up in a football family, so his technique was impeccable. The kid, you know, this may not be politically correct these days, but football's a violent sport. The bottom line is it's hitting, and he knew how to finish people. When he hit you, he would pick you up, but you knew that you'd been hit.
There's Metzer. He is upended.
You know, just the desire to go find the quarterback or find the ball carrier, get off of blocks. He just was a total package when it came to the defensive side of the ball.
I'll always remember his athleticism.
Gavin Horning lost the ball.
Just such a physical presence and a speed. Just such a smart guy and just really understood the game.
He's going to be wrapped up and dropped.
And just a great blitzer off of the edge and used that speed game and his smarts. And he'll go down as one of the best pretty much ever to come through Warwick, and it showed by getting a D1 ride.
Number 10, Warwick's Caleb Schmitz, 2020 All-State defensive back, University of Cincinnati recruit.
Caleb Schmitz, he's still playing.
We get to see him one more year, which is going to be so much fun.
And there's a pass picked off. Caleb Schmitz is going to take this one in for the touchdown.
Tremendous growth just in the last couple of years.
Another kid who's going to go D1, and again, he is a difference maker, just in a different setup. Safeties can have a large impact in a football game. Anybody that sees Caleb on film, or anybody who's come to watch Caleb and the college coaches recruited him, all speak about that he comes downhill.
Caleb Schmitz with a big hit on the floor.
From his safety position, when he hits you, you know you've been hit.
A free safety that just runs around looking for opposing ball carriers.
He took a shot.
I can't believe he held
Caleb
on to that.
Schmitz.
Now you add to that the fact that he's got a tremendous nose for the ball.
Caleb Schmitz is going to take it to the house.
And not just the nose for the ball, he somehow has the gift. Once he picks the ball, he becomes a wideout, and he sees a pathway to the end zone.
He's a ball hawk, I would say. You know, some guys like to hit the guys coming across the middle, and Caleb's got the right idea. He's going for the ball every time.
And it is incomplete.
I remember at Warwick's playoff run last fall, teams weren't really throwing to his side. When he was over the top on a wideout, quarterbacks were looking the other way because they knew Schmitz was over there. Where's 34? You better know where he's at.
He just set the tone for Warwick in their secondary. Good coverage all the way through.
Another example of a kid who has a tremendous work ethic, does all the little things that we ask of him. Very intelligent about what his job as a safety is, understands assignments for those sitting in front of him, linebackers and the rest of the DBs, and just another great football player.
Number 9, Cocalico's Jet Janis, 2013 Section 2 Defensive Back of the Year, future safety for the Oregon Ducks, Millersville Marauders.
Jet Janis, what a safety.
Great cover skills, speed. When that ball was up in the air, Jet wanted to not only pick it off, but he wanted to return it as well. Because he knew if he got that ball in his hands, he was going to be able to make a big play out of it.
Just really fantastic at reading the quarterback. Where's the play going to be? Do I need to come up and blitz? Is it a run? Do I need to drop back in coverage and help out because they're going to throw the ball downfield?
When Janis comes in and reads the quarterback's eyes, picks it off.
Just a flat-out playmaker. Loved the game. Understood the game.
Janis on the coverage for the Eagles.
If I'm throwing the ball, I'm not throwing it anywhere near the middle of the field where number 3 has a chance of picking the ball off.
I was always anxious to see what he was going to do on a Friday night. Never knew what he was going to do, but I knew for sure he was going to make a play or do something unforgettable that would make the crowd go bananas.
I remember a play against LS where made a diving one-handed interception that just seemed like he was in the air forever. And he was a kid that when he was on the field, you just trusted that he was going to make plays and find a way to will your team to victory, which, you know, as a coach is certainly all you can ask for, and somebody that you want on the field at all times.
Goes out to Oregon on a track scholarship, does well out there, decides, you know what, I still want to play football, earns a walk-on position at University of Oregon, and then transfers to Millersville and plays football out there.
The ball is intercepted by the Marauders. Jet Janis had the interception.
To be able to play multiple sports, especially at that second level, and the way he did it, just tells you what kind of athlete Jet Janis was.
He was the leader of Cocalico in those years, and I'm sure his brother was real happy with the way he was playing.
Number 8, Cocalico's Brett Janis, 3-year starter, Eagles all-time leader in interceptions and defensive touchdowns.
In the secondary, Uberoth and Hassler on the corners. Brett Janis is the free safety, and Coach Kaufman says that Janis loves to hit.
He was the intimidator. When teams tried to come across the middle with their receivers, Brett would just take their head off.
Draws, got some room to run. Oh my! What a lick. Brett Janis once again. Oh, man.
I mean, he set the tone every game in the first quarter.
I don't know what it is about these guys in this list, especially the guys in the secondary. Just love to hit people.
Man, there is Janis again to send him to the turf at the 35-yard line.
And another guy that would just seek out the opposing ball carrier and just zoom in and just lay the lumber on him.
Boy, is Janis putting on a hitting clinic here tonight.
He led us to championships his sophomore and his senior year. Senior year, we were 9-1, and he was the player of the year in Section 3. He was on defense. He had 17 interceptions, and he ran back 5.
Janis looking for a sideline, and he's going to go for the touchdown. That is a huge game-turning play right there.
Talking to Scott Shelley, who was the defensive coordinator when Brett was there, he mentioned how Brett allowed them to play both a 4-3 and a 4-4 just because Brett could make that transition from safety to linebacker so easily, and no matter where he was just making plays all over the field.
The pass, Vale throwing for the end zone, knocked away by Janis. Brett McCarthy was open, but what a play by Brett Janis. Perfectly timed by number 3.
You know, I remember when he tackled you, he wasn't just trying to bring you down, he was trying to punish you.
Good read, but Janis was just waiting for the catch to be made and then hitting.
And that mentality, you know, is what you want out of a linebacker and a safety, somebody who's going to get to the ball as quickly as they can and make people know that they're there.
He wasn't a rah-rah guy. He was I called him the quiet assassin because he just did it and then just walked back and didn't act great or anything. He did his job. Yeah, he's one of the hardest hitters I've ever seen.
Coach Coffin was indicating a little bit that you were kind of itching to hit some people tonight. I think you gave a clinic, didn't you?
Yeah, it was fun tonight. I mean, they were coming right at me and I laid it down.
The countdown's only getting started. Coming up next, we look back at the best football defensive players from number 7 through number 4. It's all ahead on 11 of the last 20. Welcome back to 11 of the last 20. Next on our countdown is a player universally praised for his on-field intelligence and the only guy on this list to ever win a state championship. Check him out.
Number 7, Manheim Central's Nate Mast, All-State linebacker, Barron's all-time leader in tackles.
There's the numbers for Nate Mast tonight, not to mention a handful of tackles on defense as well.
Man, I'm glad you brought up Nate Mast because to me, he was one of our best players.
Oh! Nate Mast lowers the boom on Panabecker.
Nate Mast was one of the most intelligent linebackers that we've had. We've had some really good linebackers, and Nate kind of was one of the best.
Wants to throw, getting pressure, and down he goes at the 10. Nate Mast gets the sack.
Undersized. Not the biggest guy in the world, and he played the all-important linebacker position for Central. He was in the middle of everything. I'll always remember Nate as just being a really hard-nosed kid who knew how to find the ball.
Panabecker upended. Nate Mast upends Panabecker.
Understood the game, knew where to be, studied the game.
He could, in the first step, know where to go.
Nate Mast, he's only 5'7", but he took the rug out of Walker right at the line of scrimmage.
And that doesn't come without studying the game. And he was excellent because he wasn't the biggest guy, he wasn't the fastest guy, but he sure was the smartest guy out there.
He was the guy who knew his role, who knew the defense. Like if you ever saw the game show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and if you didn't know an answer, you had the chance to call a friend. Nate would be the guy, if you wanted to know something about our defense, you'd call Nate on the phone and say, hey, what are we doing this play? And he could probably tell you.
And then Fitzke got some help from Nate Mast as well to drop Burkholder for about a 4, maybe a 5-yard loss.
You look at his contribution not only as an upperclassman, but go back to his sophomore season when they were in the state championship team.
Let's meet Manheim Central defensively. They've got an outstanding secondary. Nate Mast is an under-publicized inside linebacker. You'll see him in a lot of the pictures tonight.
Here's a guy that, as a sophomore, amongst all these other big-name contributors, he was a guy that added a lot to that Manheim Central defense.
State championship, gold medal time for the Manheim Central Barons, their first ever.
Understood the nuances of the game from what I can remember and just made plays.
Number 6, Cocalico's Ben Fromm, Eagles all-time leader in sacks and forced fumbles.
Ben Fromm was a human wrecking ball.
3rd down and 5, and Tyler Flick is going to be wrestled to the turf by Ben Fromm.
I coached his dad. He and his dad were a lot alike. They weren't real big, about 230 pounds. But the thing about both of them, especially Ben, he went full speed on every play.
Jet sweep, and wow, they are just flying to the ball. Stugler with nowhere to go.
Everything that you would want out of a defensive lineman, he provided it for you. He was in on tackles. Tackles for loss, and this guy thrived on hitting opposing ball carriers in the backfield.
Great coverage by the defense.
He caused fumbles, he recovered fumbles. Extremely strong, extremely athletic, and was able to flow with the play and get after the ball carrier. And again, another guy that, because of his success, would see a lot of double teams. Never phased him. He still came out and put up some tremendous numbers in his career.
He was a tough nut, and it was really scary.
Simon being chased by Fromm across the middle. It's picked off.
How he would get off blocks and pursue and make tackles. He was really tough. One of the toughest defensive players, I think, that we have played against in all our games with Cocalico.
He was an animal. In fact, sometimes the coaches had to calm him down a little bit because he played so hard.
That's Fromm
At defensive tackle that he was fun to watch. And I really enjoyed watching him get in the backfield.
Number 5, Manheim Central's Tyler Simon, 2017 Section 2 Linebacker of the Year, future starter at Shippensburg University.
If I had to describe Tyler in I guess 2 words, I'd say head hunter.
Ooh! Takes a shot as it comes across the 25-yard line.
Yeah, that was Tyler. I was talking to Coach Shelley before the game. In fact, Coach Shelley said, he's crazy.
Tyler Simon was just what I'd refer to as a heat-seeking missile.
Oh, is that number 20 again?
Simon again.
Simon again.
He got all the tools, strength, size, and a mentality that was second to none, a motor that was second to none.
Being chased, throws it back across the middle, and the pass broken up.
Simon definitely has a nose for the ball. And he has a very nasty attitude.
You think?
Played some safety early on, and by his senior year, linebacker. Free-flowing kind of a kid who could just run, fill gaps, chase you down, and make tackles.
And look who made the tackle. Free safety, Mr. Simon.
He was really good defensively.
He was just a tenacious tackler. If someone came across the middle, I mean, it was lights out.
Coach Shelley told me he was a hitter.
You were getting hit, and you were going to get hit as hard as he could possibly hit you. You know, clean, but he was going to hit you. He was going to make his presence felt. He took the time to study film, understood what the coaches wanted, and he's got a little bit of what you want in every defensive player. He's a little nutty sometimes. So, and that's a good characteristic. I'm not saying that in a bad way.
This is a guy that was just fearless. Swings it outside to Shand, and oh, he takes a hit. Tyler Simon. And when it came to a ball carrier, he was the one that was dishing it out, and I think he enjoyed every minute of it.
He had some of the best hits in games. You have people in the crowd going crazy on his some of those hits that he had. But he was a good linebacker. Probably one of the best that maybe the best linebacker we've ever had, man.
Number 4, Warwick's Nick Coomer, 2018 All-State Defensive Lineman, future University of Delaware Blue Hen.
Nick Coomer was an animal.
Himmelsbach is going to be sacked back at the 42, and it's Nick Coomer.
Size, big kid, had a great motor.
High energy guy. This is a guy that all out all the time.
He's going to be sacked. Number 60, Nick Coomer with the sack.
Nick was that rare combination of speed, agility, and strength. And you look at defensive football players, I kind of think, what impact did he have? And if you talk to opposing coaches, they had to scheme for Nick.
First down, nothing going.
When the ball was snapped, there was no time off. He went full speed. And I remember watching him when we were doing the games on TV, and I purposely just watched him. He never took a play off.
Schwill again under pressure, and Nick Coomer with the sack back at the 25-yard line.
He was somebody that would disrupt an offense, and I think that speaks volume about him. Physically just tough as nails. Excellent tackler, had a variety of moves from DT and DE.
Going to be Nick Coomer. Going to wrap him up and drop him for a loss.
Just strong and tenacious, and we'd try to double team him, he'd beat it. For a defensive lineman to be as noticed as much as he was, shows just how good he was, and got moved on to Delaware and doing good things down there as well. So great career for him.
Might have been a little underrated here for defensive end because he was such a great all-star offensive lineman.
And when Coomer's in there with Rucci, you can't get two better ones.
In the end, the thing was, he was just so strong and so quick for his size. It made it very difficult for other teams to prepare for him.
We've cracked the top 5 in our countdown, but coming up next, we unveil who made the top 3 and who's walking away as our #1 football defensive player of the last 20 years. We're back on 11 of the last 20. Before we dive into the top 3 football defensive players on our countdown, we have another group of players who had fantastic careers in their own right, but just missed out on our list.
Scott Shelley's going to look for some senior leadership, and Hunter Lehman, you know he wants this one in a bad way. And they're going to throw on first down. Going long, looking for Gibble, goes up, and the pass is picked off. Will Rivers with the interception.
Strain Garrity, one of the top defensive players in Section 2 for sure. Top tackler with 73 tackles coming into the game. Just an outstanding athlete for guard spot.
Dalton Kern, the middle linebacker, on the sack. That is his second of the season.
Cole Haley with the interception. His second of the season.
Flings it out to the right. It is up and it's picked off. Coming down with the interception is Tyler Byler. Interception number 4 on the season for Byler.
Number 3, Manheim Central's Dakota Roy, Barron's all-time leader in sacks, Under Armour All-American, future Penn State Nittany Lion.
Well, the guy that's been talked about all year long is their tight end and outside linebacker now with their switch to the 3-4. That is Dakota Royer. 56 receptions last year for more than 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns, plus the impact he makes on defense. 11 sacks,
This guy is just all over the field, and he's around the ball. And more importantly, for the pass rush, he is in the face of the quarterback.
Dakota Royer, beast,
Sackmaster,
unstoppable off the edge.
Carty on the keeper, and he is wrapped up and taken down by Dakota Royer, the defensive end.
He just had a natural ability to rush the quarterback. I think that, when he was in grade school, Dad was teaching him, right in the backyard, how to rush the quarterback, how to work his hands, move his feet through the offensive blocker.
And once again, Gibbons taking another shot.
Going to be a sore young man tomorrow. Get him in the ice bath. Oh, that's Royer. Oh.
Phenomenal player. Started out as kind of a linebacker type early in his career, and by the time he was a junior, senior, he was on the edge, D-end, blitzing, blowing stuff up, causing all kinds of havoc off the edge. Nobody could stop him.
I don't know why they're running that to Royer's side. Too big and he's too strong.
That's where he was most successful. I mean, he had 32.5 sacks.
Royer had to be. He had him lined up. Whoops.
In his career, I think he averaged 10 or 11.5 a year. He's just a tremendous pass rusher. He was the first one to play in the Under Armour game, and he was a defensive end there. Played well in the game. I really enjoyed the experience.
Going to Penn State, Division I football player, size and speed. I remember seeing a video of him jumping out of a pool up into the side. The kid said, "You got to see this one, Coach." That just shows how much of an athlete he was, and very strong, very talented. Like to try to take your head off.
Drilled as he goes downfield.
Played the game with a real attitude, and great defensive football player.
He was a great player, but I don't think we ever had as good a pass rusher as he was.
Ball is loose.
Fumble the ball.
And the Barons have it. Dakota Royer comes up with the loose ball.
Number 2, Manheim Central's Marcus Zimmerman, future 3-year starter, All-State PSAC at Bloomsburg University.
Big, strong, athletic.
Marcus Zimmerman was a man-child.
He was tenacious on offense, on defense.
When we think about kids who make a team adapt because of personnel they have, unbelievably tough kid.
Ramagnoli is going to be tracked down. Marcus Zimmerman coming down the line to get him at the 30 and drop him for a yard loss.
Personally thinking he's the top candidate because of all the things that he did.
That's a Marcus play. There's no question in my mind he's the best lineman in Section 2, one of the best in the league.
He started for us as a sophomore on offense, started as a junior on offense and defense, and we kind of gave him a little bit more breaks on defense. As a senior, he was a two-way starter, never came off the field and totally dominated games.
Look who it is, Marcus Zimmerman again.
From the tackle position, that's hard to do. You could be a defensive back and you can make a lot of plays, and everybody can see it. They can ooh and ah over them. But when you can do it from a defensive tackle position where you're getting doubled and triple teamed and still make the plays he did, because he still recorded 50 solo tackles a year and 50 or more assisted tackles a year. And I think his senior year he had 6 sacks. For a defensive tackle, that's really good.
Manheim Central really plugging things up.
Marcus definitely brought that wrestling mentality to the defensive side of the football.
Zeb doesn't want to be in there, I guarantee you. He's running out of there, and I don't blame him. Now Marcus is going for double underhooks, and he's got him.
The defensive line in general, he was one that, I remember our guys trying to block him, and it was tough.
Boy, the Manheim Central defense really got good penetration, dropping Panabecker back at the 34, so he lost a yard.
The Barons beat you up front in the trenches year after year, O-line, D-line, and I'll always remember Marcus Zimmerman as a kid who dominated along both lines for Central.
Draw play, and that goes nowhere.
Gee, I wonder who's on the bottom of the pile. Duh.
Marcus, he's one of my favorites. We're not supposed to have favorites, as coaches, but, let's be honest, we all love the kid who just will run through a brick wall for you, and Marcus was that guy.
Number 1, Cocalico's Noah Palm, 2-time LL League Player of the Year, 2019 5A State Player of the Year.
Noah Palm, he's back, obviously on our quarterback list.
Here comes a blitz. And it is going to be Noah Palm getting it.
Noah Palm, he is the GOAT at Cocalico on offense, the greatest of all time, and I look at him as being the GOAT on defense.
On the slant, it's tipped and picked off. Noah Palm with the interception.
When you mention that name, I think it just brings back all the memories of him playing.
The Cocalico Eagles are on their way back to the District 3 Finals.
Noah's a playmaker in every aspect.
A lot of people think of the offensive side first, but I think if you ask Noah, he was defensive side first.
Absolutely one of the best defensive kids that I've covered in all these years. I'll always remember Noah for lowering his shoulder and hitting you. I can still hear his tackles up in the press box. On a Friday night.
To have a safety as one of your leading tacklers, which he was pretty much every year, is not always a good thing because that means they're getting to your last level of defense. But with Noah, it was often he was making tackles in the backfield at the line of scrimmage. You know, as a safety, you sometimes worry that then are you going to get beat deep, but he just had a nose for the football, a sense for what was going on. Yeah, I think one play that sums him up is what he did against LS.
Nolt stands in the pocket, going long.
Where he intercepted the ball.
Interception.
Tremendous play, and then just refused to go down. Stiff arms, spin moves.
Palm still on his feet.
Just that one play kind of encapsulated everything that is Noah Palm and what he meant to our team and our program for 4 years.
Are you kidding me? Unbelievable.
He's just the greatest player I've seen dominate in high school.
Super talented, 4-time All-Star at safety. Obviously, he got a ton of pub for his quarterback play, but he was just as good, if not better, at safety. He'll go to New Hampshire and play safety there. Obviously a special talent, one of the best to ever come through Cocalico and come through this league.
So there you have it. Cocalico's Noah Palm, one of the best football defensive players in our coverage area and number 1 on our list. Thanks so much for joining us today on 11 the Last 20. I'm Chad Landers. Come back next time as we dive deep into a new sport and start the countdown once again to see who's number 1.